I'm about to break down this coach's content marketing approach so that they can build a 10K a month fitness business as quickly as they possibly can. If you don't know who I am, my name is Archie. I work with a portfolio of online health coaches and practitioners who do over $2.5 million a year. Collectively, they have well over 500,000 followers, and we generate about 3 to 5 million organic views a month. We have Billy here, and I'm going to be breaking down his Instagram profile. I'm going to break down his content strategy, and I'm going to break down exactly what he should change, exactly what he should keep doing so that he can bring on some new clients as soon as possible and grow his audience. So for profile optimization, I'm just going to work my way from top to bottom. Looking at his page here, I've got my phone. So looking at his page here, just looking at his bio, it's pretty good. Okay, so you've got a good niche. One thing you guys have got to consider when you are working in a niche is, why are you working in that niche? Okay, so Billy, I'm not sure if he works or he has worked in finance in the past. If he has worked in finance in the past and he can relate to that target audience, then it's a pretty good niche to have. But if you've never worked in that space before, it doesn't really make sense to just go and pursue that kind of specific niche just for the sake of it, especially if it's just because you know that these people have money. But let's just assume that Billy has worked in finance in the past. It's a good niche to have. If you can relate to them, amazing. Helping men in finance over 30 get lean, muscular, and energized, even with 60+ hour work weeks. DM energy for one-on-one consultation. Okay, so good to have a comment, good to have a DM keyword in the bio. That's all good. If I was Billy, maybe I would think about adding some like emojis or bullet points to the start of each line in the bio just to break it up a little bit. But overall positive. One thing that is missing from this is in the name section, which should appear under coach. This is actually really, really important. So what you need to have here is obviously your name. So if it's Billy, whether it's Billy, and then you might have your last name. If you want people to know your last name, which definitely helps. And then the next thing you want to have after that would be what you actually do and the niche. So maybe you would do Billy, last name, and then you might put like a bullet point to separate the lines. And then you might say something on the lines of like corporate men's transformations or something like that. One really important thing to talk about right now is that you can no longer use the term fat loss in your bio or really in any of your content. The term is flagged. So I'm going to get up what it comes up with on Instagram now if you type for fat loss. So if I type in fat loss and I hit search, it's going to come up with help is available. So that's really a keyword that you want to avoid whenever you can, because if somebody was searching for a fat loss coach, but and you've got fat loss in your bio and they type specifically fat loss in, they're not going to be able to see your page unless obviously they go to accounts. But then even then, it's still going to come up with help is available. So like you don't want to have the term fat loss in your content or really at all if you can avoid it. Okay, so we go back to Billy. Working my way down. If I was going to have DM energy for one-on-one consultation, I would have under that a booking link that just goes straight to that. Okay, so it's good to not have too many options. A lot of coaches will just have like a link tree and they'll have like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 links in their link tree. One thing you need to consider when it comes to that is that you do not want to have that many options for a link tree, because there's this thing called, like, I don't actually know what the term is, but I call it option overwhelm, which is where you give so many people so many options that they get overwhelmed and they end up not choosing anything. So there's a really interesting study that they did where they went and did a study at a coffee shop, and basically there was like 25 options or something like that on the menu, and like they checked how many orders that the cafe got, whatever it was, and then they just reduced that number down to 3, and they started selling so many more coffees because there was so many less options there. People didn't go overwhelmed and it was much easier for them to make a decision. So if I'm Billy, I'm keeping it simple, but I might add a booking link, and all you need to do is obviously add a link on your Instagram settings. Now, if we look in the joined or in his Instagram profile highlights, this is something that so many coaches get wrong. And a lot of the time, if you've been on Instagram for a long time, which it looks like Billy hasn't, but you've just got like a massive backlog of highlights on there that you've never really thought about. Same thing happens again. Like people get option overwhelmed and they never click on any of them. So you want to keep it simple. You want to have like 4 to 5 at the most. And usually what that will be, the best thing to have is like a what we do highlight. So we can see if I click on Billy's join thing, he's got a few different slides talking about what he does, which look good because they've got professional photos. They break down a little bit what he does. But what you want to have is, I would probably change the name join to just be what we do, because it feels a lot less salesy. And then what's missing from this is a call to action at the end. So on this last slide, or you could add another slide after this, you could add a call to action at the end, which might be reply to this story with, what's this, Alpha? Yeah, this is called the Alpha Performance Program. So I'd probably just change that to, like, if I had a story reply keyword, I would just have it be Alpha so that it like flows nicely. And then you would just say reply to this story with Alpha if you're looking for coaching, something along those lines. The other highlights, right? Can't even read what they say, and you won't be able to see it really on the recording. But you can see, I think if I look closely, it says life, food, and raw. So first of all, you want to have the actual names of the highlights there and visible. So same as the join one. But those other ones, to me are kind of pointless. You might have a life one, which is fine. And you could put like the food. Let's just have a look what's in here first. Yeah, there's food. And then there's like some training stuff, which is cool. And it's good to have. But I wouldn't overwhelm your story highlights with this sort of stuff. I would literally just put all of that into the life one, or like it might just be like me or something like that. And then you've just got one highlight for that. And then you want to add a couple more highlights. So one of the best ones that you can have is like a client wins highlight, and you can sometimes mesh that with like results as well. So you might have like client wins and results, or you could have client wins and results on the same one. And that is obviously where you're posting when people message you and they've got something that they want to celebrate, or they've had a real success. You would put that obviously in the client wins profile highlight. And then obviously results is the most important one. So out of those two, so if you're a fitness coach, right, you would be having before and after. So every time you bring on a new client, you should probably take a before picture. And then obviously as soon as you get a success story, you get them to take an after picture. You need that social proof there so that people can be convinced that they want to work with you. The better that social proof is, the more likely people are going to buy. You can have those on separate highlights if you want to, but you don't necessarily have to. The other highlight that you want to have is testimonials. So I like to put client wins and results on a separate highlight to testimonials, because in my opinion, video testimonials are by far the most important type of social proof that you can get, because anything else can be fudged, but you basically can't fudge a fake video testimonial just yet. I mean, you probably could with AI at this point, but most of the time you're not going to be able to. So what you want to do is every time that a client has a really successful journey with you, ask them for a video testimonial, and you can jump on a call with them. And if you do check-ins with people, like this is one of the easiest things to do, because what you can literally do is just say, hey, whatever their name is, at the end of our check-in or at the start of our next check-in, is it cool with you if we just have an extra 10 minutes? I ask you a few questions about the service, I record it and post it to my social media. And if they've had a really good experience working with you, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say yes. This is really going to push the needle in terms of social proof. And this is what people actually pay attention to. Before and afters is great in the fitness space, but in a lot of other like health coaching spaces, you can't always get like as much of a visual transformation. So if you're a coach or a practitioner and you're in one of those spaces where, let's say it was like you're an exercise physiologist and you completely remove someone's chronic back pain, that's an amazing result and that's really going to sell you. But obviously you can't get an amazing before and after picture of that because pain is invisible. So that's what I would be doing. I'm getting video testimonials and adding a story highlight for that as well. Now, if we look on here, we can also see that there's 3 posts at the top. And what you can do with Instagram posts is you can pin 3 to the top. Again, most people just completely waste this, completely neglect it. So what you want to do is you want to have 3 profile pin posts that you've actually thought about. And there's a structure that I like to follow for this, and I'm going to get it up. So basically, let's do screen capture. So this is the general structure that you would want to follow, right? So it's a short form VSL, and then it's my story, and then it's some form of social proof. So these are the pin posts that you would have on your profile. Short form VSL is literally just a video that talks about what you actually do within your service, who you help, common mistakes that people in this space make when they're trying to have the transformation. And then obviously at the end of it, you need to have a call to action. So this might be for Billy, right? I help men in finance over 30 lose X amount of kilos, gain X amount of energy, build X amount of muscle in X amount of time. That's obviously what you do and who you help. And then you might talk about in this short reel, it should only be like 60 seconds long, what the common mistakes for men in finance are. So this might be, for example, most men in finance, they're working busy hours, they're trying to have a physical transformation, but they're trying to add too much to their busy schedule. And what we do is we build out a program that helps you get your desired result without adding any additional time to your busy schedule, because that's going to be really appealing for somebody who's in that space. And then you would mention like how you do it. So what we do is X, X, and X, and then you have a call to action at the end, and you just say something along the lines of, if you're a man in finance over 30, whatever, and you want some more help with getting X, X, and X, comment on this post alpha, and I'll help you like do whatever it is, and I'll get in touch, right? And then obviously when they comment on that post, you can set up automations for this sort of stuff if you want, but like worst case scenario, you can just message this person in the DMs manually and then try to book them on a call. The second pin post that you want to have is my story, okay? And this is why you do what you do. I'm going to move this because I feel like it could probably be in a better position. And this is why you do what you do, okay? So your personal struggles that are relatable for your target audience. So as I was saying before, like it's going to be much easier for you to sell your offer if you don't just create a random niche just for the sake of it. You've built a niche, or you've created a niche, or you've focused on a niche because you have experience in that field. So what somebody who's in finance would want to know is, why should I listen to this guy over anyone else? And if you've been in their shoes before and you've had a transformation, then that's going to help you sell them a lot more. So why you do what you do, your personal struggles that are relatable for your target audience. And what you can do here is just like a follow call to action. So you could also have like a straight call to action to your actual offer, but you could also just have a follow call to action as well. So you might just say, like, if this is you, give my page a follow. I drop a bunch of free content about doing this thing. And like, obviously you learn a lot just by following me. Last one is social proof. And this needs to be success stories from your clients. So again, like you can't just be out here making these claims like I can do this, this, and this without any proof. So you need to have success stories from your past or present clients. This can be testimonials, before and afters, case studies. My favorite thing to do here is like a carousel. So it can just be like a bunch of different things. It could be one slide could be a video testimonial. The next slide could be like a before and after picture. The next slide could be like a chart, like measuring like fat loss, or like a message from clients, whatever it is. Or if you wanted to make a video, it could be like a mashup of video testimonials. And this is really good if you've got like 10, you can make a really good mashup of all of these different video testimonials that you've got. And then that's obviously going to show that you can get results, but you can get results frequently. Real quick, if you're an online health coach or practitioner and you're already above 10K a month, or you've got over 10,000 followers already and you're ready to go that next level, hit 20, hit 30, hit 40K a month, then hit that first link in the description and book a call with me, and we can chat more about how we help coaches just like you do this all the time. Now, if you're a coach or practitioner and you're not quite at 10K a month, or you're under 10K followers, but you still want to learn everything that you need to know to be able to build a really profitable coaching business and build a really valuable audience, then hit that second link below and join our Skool community content for coaches. We teach everything that you need to know in there. We've got fortnightly group calls with other coaches, templates, everything that you need to be able to do that as quickly as possible. All right, back to the video. So that's what I would do in terms of profile optimization, but now we need to make sure that our content strategy is actually on point. So if we take a look at some of these posts, I don't know if you guys are going to put up this. So I would do this content, and I'm thinking majority of men in finance over 30 are going to be loving this content. You're going to be attracting a different type of audience. They're probably not going to buy your stuff. So although it's good to help grow your audience, and maybe it'll get views, maybe you'll get a few followers from it, you need to be considerate that like this is probably not the ideal follower anyway. And so this type of content isn't enough. Okay, you can still post it if you want to, because it's good to show that like you are basically the transformation. So that's a really key point when you're, for example, a fitness coach. It's quite easy to sell your product when you are the outcome, but it's not going to be the only thing. Like it's not going to be enough to get people over the line. So you need to litter more content that's well thought out. Try not to just post thirst traps, because your target audience of men in finance over 30 probably not going to appreciate this as much. So what you need to do is post some content that's more value-based, authority-based than this. And this might be how to train as a man in finance, how to eat as a man in finance, what supplements to take as a man in finance, how to manage your like work-life balance as a man in finance. And it needs to be targeted towards them so that they recognize you as the person for their specific problems. I would absolutely need to get in front of the camera and actually talk to the people, because people buy from people. And at this point, like when you've never spoken to the camera, people aren't going to see you as an authority, and they're not going to trust you enough to be able to buy from you. Because remember, when they work with you, they're going to be working with you, and you're going to be talking to them, because obviously you've got one-on-one consultations, all that sort of stuff. So you don't really want people to be shocked when they jump on a call with you and like you're a completely different person to what they imagine, because they've never seen you, like you've never actually spoken to the camera. So you've got to get in front of the camera, you've got to talk to the camera, and you've got to deliver more in-depth value. I will be posting at least 3 times a week value authority-based content. Once a week, I will try to post some personal stories. So this is stuff like like your experience, preferably if you're a man who was working in finance, with the problems that your target audience are experiencing. So like, this is obviously going to be things like work-life balance, managing time, and obviously being able to stay healthy at the same time, managing career, managing priorities. Like if you can relate to them, they're going to trust you a lot more. So you should talk about your own personal stories that relate to the niche. And then you need to post some service-based stuff probably once a week as well, because people aren't aware of how you can actually help them yet. So this could be like client success stories. This could be like transformations. This could be talking about like your unique approach to coaching, because people want to know, again, like more about what they're buying into before they jump on that call with you. Because everybody knows like that if so they DM you they DM you energy for a one-on-one consultation, that you're going to try to sell them. Everybody knows that, which is fine if you've done the groundwork for them to be able to jump on that call and like be already half sold on your product. So this is roughly like the content strategy that I'll be recommending that you follow, which is 20% service-based content. So let's say he's posting 5 times a week. You can obviously add on top of this those like more viral type reels if you like, but this is the stuff that's actually going to help you grow the business. So if you're posting 5 times a week, one of those posts would be service-based. So examples of service-based content would be like if you were someone who was working on like gut health, or you're a naturopath and you use blood work analysis, why we use blood work analysis when we're working with a client. If you're someone in the property space, or you're a mortgage broker, why you need a broker when buying your first property. Why all athletes need to track macronutrients if you're something like a strength and conditioning coach or something like that. Now those authority-based posts, like I was saying, like it's just a bunch of free value. What you need to do when you're making value authority-based content, it should be so good, so in-depth, and so clear that somebody would pay $5 for it. If somebody wouldn't pay $5 for that information, then it is not really worth making. So this could be like, you don't hold anything back. Free training plans, free meal plans, free supplement plans, free mindset guides, whatever it is, stuff like that, that's going to make people trust you so much. The idea is that you want your free stuff to be so good that people watch it and they get it, and they're like, whoa, that's amazing. Imagine what his paid stuff is like, and they pay you. That's the authority-based content. And then you've got like personal brand-based content. What's going on here? I don't know how to close that, but... And then you've got like more personal brand building type content, which is stuff that talks about your experiences that relate to the niche. So again, like if you're a gut health coach, what you might do is the 3 hardest things about healing my own gut. If you're a mortgage broker, the biggest mistake I made when buying my first property, or I tore my ACL because I made this stupid mistake. If you're like, again, a strength and conditioning coach. So you need to talk about your own experiences that relate to your niche so that people trust you more, you feel more relatable. And then obviously, like I was saying, one service-based post a week. Okay, now the important part, how do you actually get people to buy your offer? How do you get people in your DM so that you can sell them on your coaching? So our main approach that we use for our clients is ManyChat lead magnets in every organic post that they make, at least every authority or value-based piece of content that they make. So let's say you made a piece of content and you were talking about top 5 training mistakes that men in finance make, right? At some point in that video, usually just before the end, so not right at the end because people don't often make it right to the end, but at some point in that video, you would say something along the lines of comment mistakes and I'll send you my full guide on training mistakes to avoid as a man in finance. Or if you made something that was related to nutrition, you could say something along the lines of comment finance nutrition and I'll send you my free guide on how to eat as a man in finance. And then again, like you just keep doing that same thing. So if you had, for example, you want to have like 3 to 5 that you can repeat in all of your organic content so that every single time you make a piece of content, you've got a lead magnet that you can refer back to that relates to whatever you were talking about in that piece of content. So if you make some really good ones, right? If you made a really amazing like nutrition plan, then every time you mention anything about nutrition in any of your content, you use that same comment keyword and you obviously send them to them. If you were making anything about fitness or training as a man in finance, you can send them that training plan and use that comment keyword so that they know to comment on that post if they want that free thing. And then for the most common pain points for your target audience, you just make free resources for those things. Now, free resources that actually work are stuff that is directly, immediately actionable. Okay, so you don't want to make something that's not really powerful. And you got to remember that most people are aware of how to use ChatGPT at this point. So most people can ask ChatGPT to give them a training plan. They can ask ChatGPT to give them a nutrition plan. So you've got to find a way to sell your services enough, like find a unique way to make people really want to buy into what you can offer them. And it can't just be some like boring basic stuff that they can get from anywhere, because then they're not going to comment for it. They're not going to respect you as an authority because they could have got it from anywhere. So what you need to have is like 3 to 5 really good lead magnets that people can comment for on every single authority-based piece of content, every single value-based piece of content, and sometimes service-based, sometimes personal-based, but at least in every value and authority-based piece of content. So let's say they commented like finance subs. If they commented that, you're obviously going to send them that lead magnet. Now you can set this up using ManyChat. I'm not going to get into that right now. It's like a full nother lesson, but basically what you can set up is automation so that anytime somebody comments on a post, a specific keyword, that is then going to send them that free resource of that lead magnet. So that website that I'm mentioning is ManyChat. I'll put a link to it in the description. Every single person that comments on that post for that specific lead magnet is a warm lead, and it's somebody that you understand their pain points. Because if they're commenting for a training plan, then you know that they don't understand how to train. If they comment for something about nutrition, you know that they don't know how to eat for their specific goals. And so you can start a conversation with them in the DMs and say like, hey, Gary, notice that you commented for my supplement plan. Are you looking for some more help with building out a protocol or a supplement plan for getting this desired outcome as a man in finance? That's a little bit long-winded, but something along those lines. And then if they say yes, you can say, awesome, this is what I help all of my clients with. Are you interested in booking a call with me? If they say yes, cool, booking a call, you can sell them on your offer. It's as simple as that. If you get enough comments and if you reach out to enough new people, then you're going to book enough calls, you're going to sell enough people on your offer, and you're going to be able to obviously get to that 10K a month mark. Now, most coaches are massively underselling or undervaluing their offers. So you should have an offer that's at least $100 a week. Because if it's over $100 a week, or like it's 100 or more, then number one, people are going to value it much higher. So they're going to trust you more. They're going to respect you more. Number two, you will probably work with a few less clients, but you're going to make the same amount of money because obviously priced higher. And number three, again, you can work with less clients, you can get better results, and that compounds because the more clients that you get results, the more referrals you're going to get, the more social proof you're going to get, and the easier it's going to be for you to sell your offer. And then you just keep on increasing the price as you continue to book out. So what you would do is have an offer that's actually valuable. Okay. And if you get 25 clients and 25 clients are paying you $100 a week, then you're going to be making 10K a month. It's literally that simple. What you need to do is make enough content, send out enough lead magnets, message enough people, and then book enough calls, and you'll get to 25 clients in no time. But you got to be consistent. You got to get your messaging right, and you've got to deliver enough value that people trust you. Now, you don't have a story up right now. You pretty much always want to have a story up, and stories are another place that people overlook the value in them. So most people, they're just like, okay, I'm going to make good content on my feed and I'll be sweet, but that's not true. Obviously, you got to have your profile optimized, you got to have your highlights optimized, but the stories is the best place to sell your offer, because the only people that are watching your stories are the people that are already invested in you. The people that are already invested in you are much more likely to buy. So you only really want to do your selling on your stories. And this might be something along the lines of, let's say you post 5 times a week organic content. There's a principle called like jab, 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 hook principle, which is essentially for every gives. So every piece of like quality free value, you've earned one ask. And the ask could be, if you're interested in coaching, to reach out for you. And you would do that on your stories. The best place to do that, right? Let's say you get a transformation and one of your clients says, I'm stoked with this. You've got a before and after picture. You want to post it on your story. You're going to attach it to your highlights anyway. What you need to do is put that result up first and be like, this is Gary. He lost 15 kilos while working 60-hour weeks. This is before and after, whatever it is. Next slide, you just say, if you're a man in finance like Gary and you're struggling with your energy, you don't know what to eat, you don't know how to train, anything like that, then reply to this story with Alpha, because obviously your coaching offer's name is Alpha, and I'll get in touch about how we help clients or something like that. And we can help you like get the same transformation, whatever it is. What you're doing there is you're obviously showing results before you're doing an ask. So then people are putting themselves in that other person's shoes, and then they're going to be like, okay, this guy, number one, I've seen a result that he can just get. I can relate to this person who's got a transformation. The actual process to get in touch with him is very easy, because like I said, you've got one simple comment keyword that you're asking people to reply with. Sorry, reply keyword, and it's Alpha. Because what you want to do is make the process for them to reach out to you so easy that, you know, they're actually going to take action on it. Because if you just say something along the lines of like, get in touch, then people will get confused. And that same thing as before, they won't take action because they don't know what exactly to say to get in touch. So you tell them, you give them every step of the process, you make it as easy as possible, and you show them results, you show them social proof. And so you might do this once a week. If you're getting that many results, great, but you're probably not going to get a before and after every single week. That's almost impossible until you have like hundreds of clients. And so what you can do instead is just have like a weekly check-in with your clients. And you might say like, what's one win from your week? If all of your clients send you a great win from the week, you can put all those on your story. You can use that as social proof, and then you can lead into the ask after that. So that's how you do promotion on your story. You have a simple reply keyword that people can get in touch with. They can get in touch. You can have a conversation with them in the DMs, find out if they're the right fit for you, because remember, this is your offer and you shouldn't just be working with anybody. But if they're a good fit for you, you can help them. Then you can try to book them on a call. You can try to sell them on your offer. You need to have a minimum term as well. So I don't know what your offer looks like, Billy. Hopefully you've got one, but it should be, I can help you get X transformation in X amount of time using this, this, and this. And then obviously there's a guarantee there. So if you don't get that transformation and you do all the stuff, then like maybe we'll work with you for free until you do. You get a money back guarantee, anything like that. I forgot where I was going with that. But obviously, like, for that to happen, they need to commit to a minimum term. That usually at the absolute minimum should be 12 weeks. Oftentimes longer than that is better, especially if you're guaranteeing like a massive result. If your result was going to be like, this is not going to be you, Billy, but like if it was lose 10 kilos, most of the time people aren't going to be able to do that in 12 weeks unless they're like obese and you like nail everything. So you need to make your outcome that you're promising achievable in the time frame that you're giving them. But the reason that I'm saying this is because you can't sell people on like just like coaching with no lock-in contract, no appropriate pricing, because then you're just going to be on the hamster wheel of like trying to get new clients all the time, because people are churning, they're leaving you because they've never committed to an offer, and you know, you've got no security, you don't know how much money you're going to make next week. So you've got to have your offer dialed in. And that's pretty much it. So if I was you, again, I'll be trying to get some new clients in as quickly as I possibly can, targeting those people who, you know, and I missed one other thing. For every, like when you're in this real hustle stage, you want to be having conversations with as many people as you can. You're not going to be able to sell all of them, which is fine. But for every new follower that looks like they're the right type of person for you, I would be reaching out to them and saying like, hey, whatever their name is, thanks for the follow. Are you here just out of curiosity, or are you looking for some more help with getting leaner, muscular, and more energized as a man in finance? And they'll probably ghost you most of the time, which is fine. You can ignore them after that point. But if they reply to you, great. You have a conversation with them, get to know their problems a little bit, but try to book them on a call. Don't waste too much time. Once you've got them on a call, you can obviously sell them on your offer. But for every new follower that fits your demographic, then you're obviously reaching out to them, because at this point, you're not going to get that many people reach out to you because you haven't got much credibility. And so you need to put in the groundwork. So you need to be sending out as many DMs as you can. Probably be like, at this point, if you've never done it before, I would DM every single follower that you've got. Just see if you can get like 1 to 2 clients, because as soon as you've got 1 to 2, you can start stacking evidence that you can get results, and you can ask for referrals. The more evidence that you get of success, the more social proof, the more transformations, the more easy it is the easier it's going to be for you to be able to sell your offer. And that's pretty much what I'll be doing. Post content as frequently as you can, deliver as many lead magnets and free resources to people as you can, start conversations, stack social proof, optimize your profile, and do promotion maybe like 1 to 2 times per week, depending on how much you're posting, and you'll be good. You'll rip. So get after it, man. Good luck. If you made it to the end of this video and you're a health coach or practitioner who's over 10K a month or over 10,000 followers, and you're ready to go to that next point, hit 20, hit 30, hit 40K a month, then hit that first link in the description and book a call with me. We can chat more about how we might be able to help you. If that's not you, you're not at 10K a month or you're not at 10,000 followers yet, and you still want to learn everything that you need to know to be able to get to that point, build a really profitable coaching business, build a really valuable audience, then hit the second link below and join our Skool community content for coaches, where we teach you everything that you need to know to be able to do just that. And if you're not already, hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to push out more value to my YouTube channel. So let's go. Let's lock in.